Did you know this? Seniors who consume the wrong type of carbohydrates every day increase their risk of type 2 diabetes by up to 70%, even if they don't eat that much sugar. And that's not all. According to data from the CDC and the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, high glycemic carbs can silently spike your blood sugar damage, your gut lining, accelerate memory loss, shrink your muscle mass, and even raise your risk of stroke, all without you noticing a single symptom, until it's too late. And yet most people over 60 are still being told to just eat whole grains or cut back on sweets, advice that may be dangerously outdated. In today's video, we're ranking the 4 worst and 4 best types of carbohydrates for people over 60 based on the latest research in aging metabolism and cognitive health. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Senior Life, where science meets real solutions for better aging. Let's go first. Let's take a look at the 4 types of carbs you should absolutely avoid. Number 1. White sandwich bread. As a physician who's worked with older adults for over 3 decades, I can tell you bread is one of the most misunderstood foods in the American diet. Especially white sandwich bread. It's cheap, convenient, and nostalgic, sure, but it's also one of the most deceptively harmful foods for people over 60. Take my patient Janet, for example, a 64-year-old retired teacher from Ohio. She came to me struggling with sudden fatigue after meals, blurry vision in the afternoons, and what she called senior moments of forgetfulness. When we looked at her daily diet, guess what she had for breakfast and lunch almost every day? 2 slices of white bread toast in the morning, a sandwich at noon. White bread is made from highly refined wheat flour, which has had nearly all of its fiber and nutrients removed. That matters. Without fiber, the starch in white bread digests almost instantly, causing a rapid spike in blood glucose. According to a study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, refined carbohydrates like white bread have a glycemic index (GI) of 70 or higher, meaning they cause blood sugar to rise almost as quickly as pure glucose (GI) of 100. For older adults, this is a recipe for disaster. The CDC reports that nearly 1 in 4 Americans over 65 already has diabetes, and many don't even know it. Repeated blood sugar spikes can quietly worsen insulin resistance, leading to type 2 diabetes, weight gain, and chronic fatigue. Just to compare, 1 slice of white sandwich bread contains less than 1 gram of fiber. 1 slice of sprouted whole grain bread, around 3 grams, and it's packed with antioxidants and minerals. Fiber is what slows digestion and keeps blood sugar levels stable. It also feeds healthy gut bacteria, which we now know plays a role in brain and immune health. In a 2021 study from the National Institute on Aging, older adults with higher fiber intake had significantly lower levels of systemic inflammation, a key factor in everything from dementia to nerve damage. Most commercial white breads are loaded with added sugars, sometimes listed as corn syrup solids or malt, hydrogenated oils known to contain trans fats, preservatives and emulsifiers which may disrupt gut-brain signaling. A 2020 review in the journal Nutrients found that diets high in refined grains and added sugars were associated with a 57% higher risk of developing mild cognitive impairment in older adults. Yes, 57%. And in my own practice, I've seen this firsthand. Patients who cleaned up their diet, removing white bread and replacing it with high-fiber options, often saw dramatic improvements in focus memory and even sleep within just a few weeks. What you can do instead, starting today: switch to sprouted whole grain bread. Look for labels like Ezekiel or sprouted 100% whole grain. These breads are digested slower, are lower on the glycemic index, and contain higher levels of B vitamins, which help protect nerves and the brain. Pair bread with protein or fat. Add avocado, almond butter, or eggs. This slows digestion and reduces sugar spikes. Avoid enriched labels. Enriched white bread may sound healthy, but it only means that synthetic vitamins were added back after stripping the natural ones out during processing. Watch for symptoms. If you experience things like energy crashes after meals, tingling or numbness in the hands or feet, difficulty remembering names or appointments, you might want to look at the type of bread you're eating. White bread damage builds slowly. For middle-aged adults, I'm talking about folks in their late 40s and 50s. This is the perfect time to switch gears. I tell my patients, you can either make the change now or deal with the consequences later. You wouldn't keep using a car part if you knew it was eroding your engine. Why do the same with your body? Number 2. A dangerous one-boxed breakfast cereals. I remember one of my patients, Lorraine, 71, retired librarian from Arizona. She came in with bloating high blood pressure and had just been diagnosed with prediabetes. When we reviewed her diet, the red flag was right there on the table. Healthy breakfast cereal with skim milk every single morning for the last 15 years. Let's be honest, boxed breakfast cereals are one of the most marketed health foods in America. But for people over 60, they're often doing far more harm than good. Most boxed cereals, even the ones labeled whole grain, are made with refined grains that digest way too fast. That means sugar spikes, insulin crashes, and over time, serious damage to your metabolic system. A report from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health found that high consumption of refined cereals was strongly linked to increased risk of metabolic syndrome, a condition marked by belly fat, high blood pressure, and elevated blood sugar, especially dangerous for seniors. And the sugar. Some brands pack in up to 15 grams per serving before you even pour the milk. That's almost 4 teaspoons of sugar to start your day. No wonder my patients feel exhausted by mid-morning. Many cereals contain emulsifiers, phosphates, and preservatives designed to keep them fresh on the shelf, but not so friendly once they're inside your body. A study published in Scientific Reports in 2020 found that phosphate additives commonly used in processed breakfast cereals can impair bone mineralization and lead to muscle wasting, especially in older adults with low kidney function. And emulsifiers. These can alter your gut bacteria and have been linked to gut inflammation and digestive discomfort. If you're dealing with bloating, irregular bowel movements, or mystery stomach issues, your morning cereal might be a hidden trigger. So, what are the signs you should watch for? If you're over 60 and eating boxed cereal regularly, here are some red flags. You feel tired shortly after breakfast. You have gas bloating or irregular digestion. Your blood sugar has been creeping up at each checkup. You've noticed increasing belly fat or muscle loss. If any of those sound familiar, it might be time for a breakfast rethink. Now, what should you eat instead? Greek yogurt with nuts or berries packed with protein and probiotics to support your gut and metabolism. Boiled or scrambled eggs full of nutrients, and they'll actually keep you full. Sprouted or whole grain toast with avocado or nut butter gives you fiber-healthy fat and a steady release of energy. You don't have to give up breakfast, you just have to give up the box. I always tell my younger patients in their 40s and 50s, this is the age to build the habits you want to still have when you're 70. Don't wait for your blood sugar to rise or your bones to weaken. Start now. Number 3. Potato chips. Eating French fries after 60 isn't just about gaining weight. It's about increasing your risk of high blood pressure, cognitive decline, heart failure, and even cancer, one crispy bite at a time. I've been practicing medicine for over 30 years, and one of the most common foods I see wreak havoc on my senior patients, without them even realizing it, is French fries. It's not that one serving will kill you, but when fries become a regular part of your routine, the damage quietly builds up in ways most people never connect to their symptoms. Let me walk you through it, step by step with data. French fries start with white potatoes, one of the highest glycemic foods out there. A single medium-sized serving of fries can have a glycemic index GI of over 75, which causes rapid spikes in blood glucose. According to the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, diets high in glycemic load are directly linked to increased risk of type 2 diabetes, especially in older adults with declining insulin sensitivity. But it's not just about the sugar spike. Once you deep fry those potatoes, the damage compounds. Most restaurants and fast food chains reuse oil repeatedly throughout the day. This leads to the formation of acrylamide, a potentially carcinogenic chemical, produced when starchy foods are cooked at high temperatures. The National Cancer Institute confirms that acrylamide has been shown to cause DNA mutations in animal studies, and although human data is still developing, the evidence is strong enough that many experts now warn seniors to reduce exposure, especially if consumed regularly over decades. In one large U.S. cohort study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition 2017, researchers found that people who ate fried potatoes more than twice a week had a 2x higher risk of early death compared to those who rarely consumed them. Let that sink in. Double the risk of early death. French fries are also a nightmare for gut health, especially in aging bodies. The combination of refined carbs, inflammatory oils, and preservatives disrupts the balance of the gut microbiome, a system crucial for digestion, immunity, and even brain function. A study in Frontiers in Nutrition 2023 showed that frequent consumption of fried foods was associated with increased gut permeability, aka leaky gut, which can trigger systemic inflammation and autoimmune reactions. This matters because as we age, our gut becomes more sensitive to dietary damage. Seniors with compromised gut health are at higher risk for nutrient malabsorption, mood disorders like anxiety and depression, chronic inflammation that contributes to Alzheimer's, arthritis, and heart disease. And when you add high sodium levels to the mix, a medium order of fries can have up to 400–500 millicouleurs of sodium. Sometimes more, it becomes a major contributor to hypertension. According to the CDC, about 65% of adults over 60 in the U.S. have high blood pressure, and many don't even know it until complications occur. The salt in fries doesn't just taste good, it silently drives your blood pressure up meal after meal. Want to protect your memory as you age. Stay far away from fried, starchy carbs. In a study published in Neurology 2020, researchers found that diets high in fried foods and refined carbs were associated with accelerated brain shrinkage and a higher risk of cognitive decline even among people in their 50s and 60s. Better swaps that still taste amazing: roast sweet potatoes with skin on rich in fiber, beta-carotene, vitamin A, and anti-inflammatory compounds. Air-fried carrots or zucchini sticks, you still get the crispiness without the carcinogenic load. Mashed avocado with baked root veggies, a heart-healthy, satisfying combo that keeps blood sugar steady. And here's a small but powerful tip. Add herbs like rosemary or paprika when roasting to mimic the fries experience, minus the danger. These swaps aren't just healthier. They're tastier, more satisfying, and easier to digest for older adults. Number 4. Rice cakes. I can't count how many of my patients, especially those in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, have proudly told me they swapped out chips or cookies for light, healthy rice cakes. One of them was John, 69 years old, a retired engineer from Colorado. He was gaining weight, feeling more foggy-headed, and struggling with energy crashes in the afternoons. The first thing I asked, "What's your go-to snack?" You guessed it, plain rice cakes 3 to 4 a day. He thought they were a smart choice. But here's what the science really says. Let's start with the basics. Rice cakes are made by puffing white rice at high temperatures, which makes them light and crispy, but also extremely fast to digest. That's a problem. According to the Harvard Medical School Glycemic Index database, plain rice cakes can have a GI between 82 and 91 depending on brand and processing. For reference, glucose: pure sugar GI 100, white bread GI 75, rice cakes GI 82-91. That's right, rice cakes often raise blood sugar faster than white bread, and almost as fast as sugar itself. Now, why does this matter? Because when you're over 60, your body's insulin response weakens, and frequent blood sugar spikes lead to insulin resistance, which is the foundation of type 2 diabetes. According to the CDC, nearly 1 in 4 Americans over 65 already has type 2 diabetes, and many others are in the pre-diabetic range and don't even know it. Here's what a typical rice cake provides. Calories: 35 50s. Fiber 0 g, protein 0.5 g, fat 0 g, carbs 7 to 9 g, almost entirely starch. This means it goes straight through your digestive system, turning into glucose almost instantly, causing a blood sugar surge, followed by a sharp crash. That's why many seniors feel lightheaded, irritable, or tired an hour after snacking on them. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition 2014 found that older adults who consumed high GI foods experienced significantly greater post-meal fatigue and reported lower alertness and memory performance compared to those who ate balanced, slower-digesting meals. Here's the deeper concern. High GI foods like rice cakes don't just affect your blood sugar. They fuel inflammation and oxidative stress, two of the biggest drivers behind neurodegenerative disease and vascular decline. In a 2021 review from the Journal of the American Geriatrics Society, diets rich in rapidly digesting carbohydrates were associated with increased levels of C-reactive protein CRP, a key inflammation marker, higher rates of cognitive decline, greater risk of white matter brain lesions linked to memory loss and dementia. If you're already at risk, maybe you've noticed memory slips or nerve tingling. This matters. A blood sugar roller coaster from healthy snacks like rice cakes may be silently worsening those symptoms. Here's the irony. One rice cake only has about 35 calories, which seems like a smart choice. But because it lacks fiber, fat, and protein, it provides no satiety. You don't feel full, which leads to over-snacking. This sets you up for a calorie surplus, especially if you're also eating other high-carb snacks throughout the day. In a study by the UCLA Center for Human Nutrition, participants who ate high GI snacks, like rice cakes, were twice as likely to consume more calories in the following 2 hours compared to those who ate balanced snacks with fat and protein. So what should you reach for instead? Almonds or walnuts? Just a small handful provides healthy fats, fiber, and protein, all of which support blood sugar control and brain health. Whole grain toast with almond or peanut butter, satisfying, rich in nutrients, and won't spike your blood sugar. Hard-boiled egg with sliced veggies, packed with choline protein and antioxidants, great for nerve and memory function. Avocado on rye crisp bread, still crunchy but loaded with fiber and good fats. Pro tip: always pair carbohydrates with protein or fat. This slows digestion, lowers the glycemic load, and keeps you full longer, preventing that sugar crash. Now let's move on to the most important part, the solution for seniors over 60. Here are 4 types of carbs you should eat every day. Number 1. Sweet potatoes. If you're over 60 and not eating sweet potatoes at least a few times a week, you might be missing one of the easiest, most delicious ways to protect your brain, heart, and gut health. I had a patient named Carol, 72, a retired school principal from Minnesota. She came to see me with muscle cramps, occasional blurry vision, and a general sense of fatigue. Nothing serious at first glance, but when we looked at her diet, it was heavy on bread pasta and processed snacks and zero sweet potatoes. After just a few weeks of adding them into her meals, especially cooled roasted slices, she reported better digestion, fewer leg cramps, and even felt sharper mentally. Let's take a closer look at why sweet potatoes make such a difference, especially for seniors. First off, sweet potatoes are one of the best slow-digesting carbs you can eat. Unlike white bread or regular potatoes, they're digested gradually, which means your blood sugar stays stable, giving you steady energy instead of crashes. That's a game changer if you've been feeling tired an hour after meals. They're also packed with beta-carotene, which the body turns into vitamin A, crucial for eye health and immune strength. According to the National Eye Institute, older adults who get enough vitamin A have a 40% lower risk of age-related vision decline. Here's another bonus most people don't know. When you cook and cool sweet potatoes, like by roasting them and putting leftovers in the fridge, they form something called resistant starch. That's a special type of fiber that feeds the good bacteria in your gut. Why does that matter? Because gut health is directly linked to everything from mood to inflammation. A 2022 study in Nutrients showed that seniors who consumed more resistant starch had better digestion, stronger immunity, and even improved memory recall. If you've been dealing with gas constipation or feeling off after eating, adding cooled sweet potatoes to your meals could help rebalance your gut without supplements. Now let's talk about minerals, especially potassium and magnesium. These two are often low in older adults, and when they drop, you might feel muscle cramps or twitching, irregular heartbeat, trouble sleeping, low energy or brain fog. Just one medium sweet potato can give you 15% of your daily potassium and a good dose of magnesium, both essential for muscle function, nerve health, and heart rhythm. I've had multiple patients in their late 60s who saw improvements in blood pressure and sleep quality just from increasing foods rich in these minerals, and sweet potatoes are one of the easiest, most affordable sources. So what's the best way to eat them? Roasted with skin on keeps the fiber and nutrients intact. Cooled and added to salads or grain bowls boosts gut health. Mashed with olive oil or a sprinkle of cinnamon, comfort food that actually helps your body. And skip the brown sugar and marshmallows. Sweet potatoes are already sweet enough on their own. Number 2. Lentils. I remember Linda, a 67-year-old retired nurse from Ohio. She came in with concerns about memory slips, low energy, and rising cholesterol. She didn't want to start on another prescription. So we made one small change. We added lentils to her meals 3 times a week. Within 2 months, her energy was up, her blood sugar stabilized, and she said she felt like her brain came back online. Let's break down why lentils are one of the most powerful foods for older adults, especially women over 60. First, lentils are packed with prebiotic fiber, the kind that feeds your healthy gut bacteria. This helps improve digestion, reduce bloating, and keep your immune system strong. A 2021 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that diets rich in prebiotic fiber can lead to 30% fewer inflammatory markers in older adults. That's huge for preventing arthritis, autoimmune issues, and even cognitive decline. Plus, this kind of fiber helps regulate bowel movements, something many of my older patients silently struggle with. Second, let's talk blood sugar. Unlike refined carbs, lentils are absorbed slowly, keeping your glucose levels steady. According to a study published by Harvard Medical School, Replacing fast carbs like white rice or white bread with lentils can lower post-meal blood sugar spikes by up to 35%. That makes lentils a perfect carb for people with prediabetes, insulin resistance, or just trying to keep their metabolism sharp. Now here's something especially important for older women. Lentils are rich in plant-based iron folate and magnesium. These nutrients are essential for heart rhythm red blood cell formation and memory, all of which naturally decline with age. Many women after menopause become mildly anemic without knowing it. Symptoms like fatigue, brain fog, shortness of breath are often dismissed as just getting older, but sometimes it's just iron deficiency, and lentils can help fix it naturally. 1 cup of cooked lentils gives you 15 daju of fiber, 18 g of plant protein, nearly 40% of your daily iron for women, 90% of your daily folate. No wonder the World Health Organization lists lentils as one of the top 5 healthiest foods for aging populations. So how should you eat them? Toss them in a warm salad with olive oil and lemon. Add them to soups or stews for extra protein. Mix them with rice and herbs as a side dish, or make a lentil spread instead of mayo or cream cheese. They're cheap, easy to store, and cook in under 20 minutes. Perfect for seniors living alone or cooking in small batches. Number 3. Green peas. First, they're high in resistant starch and soluble fiber. That means they don't spike your blood sugar like refined carbs do. Instead, they slow digestion and help keep your glucose levels steady, exactly what you want after age 60. A 2020 study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that older adults who regularly consumed legumes like green peas had 20–25% lower post-meal blood sugar spikes, especially when paired with healthy fats like olive oil. And that fiber, it feeds your gut microbiome, the good bacteria that protect your immune system and help with nutrient absorption. It also eases constipation, which many seniors struggle with quietly. But here's what really excites me as a doctor. Green peas contain leucine, an amino acid that helps build and repair muscle. As we age, muscle loss, sarcopenia, becomes a real concern, especially after 60. You might notice trouble getting up from a chair, weakness going upstairs, feeling like your balance isn't as strong. Leucine helps trigger muscle protein synthesis, which is the process your body uses to maintain muscle. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that seniors who increased leucine intake retained significantly more muscle mass, even without intense exercise. So if you've been losing strength but haven't changed your diet, peas might be exactly what your muscles are asking for. They're also known to calm gut inflammation, thanks to both fiber and antioxidant compounds. If you've been dealing with bloating, irregular bowel movements, IBS-like symptoms, green peas are gentle enough to help soothe your system, especially when lightly steamed. Here's how I usually recommend preparing them. Steam or sauté with extra virgin olive oil and garlic. Add to brown rice quinoa or soups for texture and nutrients. Toss with fresh herbs and lemon as a quick fiber-rich side. Just don't overcook them, you'll lose the nutrients. And skip the canned peas loaded with sodium. So here are some signs you might benefit from adding green peas into your meals. Feeling weaker in your legs or arms. Experiencing digestive issues like constipation or bloating. Blood sugar slowly creeping up on your labs. Trouble keeping your balance or muscle tone. If any of those sound familiar, it's worth giving these little green gems a regular spot on your plate. Number 4. Steel-cut oats. If you're over 60 and struggling with cholesterol, blood sugar swings, or mood dips, a bowl of steel-cut oats might be the simplest, smartest upgrade you can make to your breakfast. Let me tell you about my patient Margaret, 70 years old, a retired librarian from Vermont. She came in with rising LDL cholesterol afternoon crashes and said she'd been feeling more anxious and off lately. We made just one change, swapped her white toast and jelly breakfast for a bowl of warm steel-cut oats with cinnamon and walnuts. 3 weeks later, she said her energy was back. Her mood was more even, and her doctor called to say her cholesterol had dropped 20 points. Here's why that one change worked so well. Steel-cut oats are digested slowly, much slower than instant oats or white bread. This slow digestion keeps blood sugar stable, which is key for seniors who may have prediabetes or energy crashes after meals. According to a 2018 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, people over 60 who regularly consumed steel-cut oats had more stable insulin levels and reported fewer energy dips and food cravings throughout the day. So if you ever feel drained a couple hours after breakfast, this is a powerful fix. Now let's talk about beta-glucan, the superstar fiber found in oats. Beta-glucan is known to help lower LDL cholesterol, reduce systemic inflammation, and strengthen immune response, especially in older adults. One clinical trial, published by the National Institutes of Health, showed that daily beta-glucan intake from oats reduced bad cholesterol by up to 10% in just 4 weeks, while also improving markers of immune function in people over 65. Pretty impressive for a simple bowl of oats. Even better, steel-cut oats are amazing for gut health. They act as prebiotics, meaning they feed the good bacteria in your colon, helping your body absorb nutrients better and reduce digestive problems like constipation or bloating. That gut support also impacts your mental health. Serotonin. The feel-good hormone is largely produced in the gut, and when your gut is happy, your brain feels it too. That's why Margaret told me she felt calmer and less foggy after just a few weeks. So what does all this mean for seniors? If you're noticing afternoon fatigue, high cholesterol, low mood or anxiety, irregular digestion, your breakfast may need a serious upgrade. Here's how I suggest making it. Cook steel-cut oats slowly with water or almond milk. Add cinnamon flaxseed or chopped walnuts. Top with berries or half a banana for natural sweetness. Avoid brown sugar. Your body doesn't need it. Start with a small bowl a few times a week and see how your body responds. So now you know these 4 carbs might seem harmless, even familiar, but they could be silently damaging your blood sugar, your memory, your gut, and your muscles as you age. But the good news: you can take control, starting with just one small change at your next meal. Your body is still listening. It's still adapting. And it's never too late to give it the fuel it truly needs. If this helped you or someone you care about, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Senior Life. Your support helps us keep bringing you simple science-backed advice to help you stay strong, sharp, and healthy at every stage of life. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Did you know that over 92% of seniors in the U.S. are unknowingly eating seafood contaminated with mercury microplastics or antibiotic-resistant bacteria every single week? And yet, these same 4 seafoods are sold in nearly every supermarket featured on senior nutrition guides and praised on popular health blogs. It gets worse. One of these seafoods has been directly linked in multiple peer-reviewed studies to a higher risk of inflammation, joint pain, and even neurodegenerative conditions in adults over 60. And the industry, they're not telling you the truth because these are billion-dollar export products. They don't just want to sell them to you. They've made them a staple of your weekly diet. Meanwhile, the one type of seafood that's been shown to help reverse joint pain, rebuild collagen, and reduce age-related fatigue has been buried. Why? Because it's not profitable. Most seniors believe seafood is the healthiest thing on their plate. But what if I told you that 4 of the most common choices are slowly damaging your health? In today's video, I'm going to reveal the 4 worst seafoods you should never touch after 60, and the 4 you must eat daily to protect your joints, heart, and brain. We'll rank them from questionable to toxic with real science backing every claim. So, before we dive in, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Senior Life, your trusted source for senior wellness made simple. Let's protect your plate and your future. Now let's take a closer look at the 4 worst types of seafood for people over 60. The first type of seafood, squid. Let's talk about squid. It's tender, tasty, and shows up everywhere from fried calamari appetizers to seafood salads and even healthy meal prep boxes. But what most older adults don't know is that squid might be doing far more harm than good, especially after age 60. Here's the deal. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, a standard 3-ounce 85g serving of cooked squid contains 198 milligrams of cholesterol. That's over 65% of the recommended daily intake, which the American Heart Association advises should stay below 300 mg per day for healthy individuals and even lower under 200 mg for those with heart disease or diabetes. Now, why does this matter more as we age? Because your body's ability to process cholesterol declines with time. After age 60, liver function and cholesterol receptors slow down. According to data from the National Institutes of Health, LDL cholesterol, aka bad cholesterol, tends to rise sharply in men over 65 and in postmenopausal women. Combine that with high cholesterol foods like squid, and you've got a perfect storm for atherosclerosis, where plaque builds up in your arteries, narrowing blood flow to the brain and heart. Here's a stat that really hits home. The CDC reports that nearly 70% of adults aged 65 and older already have some form of cardiovascular disease, and diet plays a major role in that. But there's another hidden danger in squid purines. Squid is considered a moderate to high purine seafood with roughly 136 mg of purines per 100 growlers. When your body breaks down purines, it produces uric acid. Too much uric acid, that's where gout starts. A 2004 study published in the New England Journal of Medicine tracked over 47,000 men for 12 years and found that high intake of purine-rich seafood increased the risk of gout by over 50%. And the pain isn't just occasional, it's often chronic, burning, and debilitating. Let me share a patient story. Jim, a retired mechanic from Cleveland, had been doing everything right: low sugar, daily walks, no red meat. But he loved his grilled squid, ate it 3 times a week for protein. Then one morning he wakes up and can't put weight on his right foot. By the time he saw me, his big toe was swollen red and throbbing. Lab results: uric acid, 8.9 mg DL. That's well above the safe limit. And here's the kicker, he had no idea squid could be the trigger. This is why I always say just because something is low fat doesn't mean it's heart safe or joint friendly. So what should you do instead? Cut back on squid to once or twice a month, especially if you've got a history of high cholesterol or gout. Opt for low purine omega-3 rich seafood like wild salmon, sardines, or trout. Not only are they easier on your joints, they actually help fight inflammation. Drink plenty of water, at least 8 cups a day, to help flush excess uric acid. Avoid sugary sodas and beer, which both spike uric acid levels. And don't skip routine labs. A simple lipid panel and uric acid test can help you catch problems before they become painful. The second type of seafood, imitation crab, surimi. Let's talk about imitation crab, also known as surimi. It's everywhere in sushi, seafood salads, frozen dinners, even those healthy protein meal kits. It looks like crab, tastes like crab. But let me be very clear, as a doctor who's seen this story play out too many times. This is not real seafood. Here's what it really is. Surimi is a processed mashup of low-cost white fish, usually Alaskan pollock, mixed with refined starches like wheat or tapioca, added sugars, artificial crab flavoring food colorings, salt, and preservatives. Basically, it's the hot dog of the ocean. And while it's cheap and convenient, it comes with a heavy cost to your health, especially if you're over 60. According to research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition Foods, made with refined starches and added sugars like imitation crab can have a glycemic index (GI) above 60. That's similar to white bread, meaning it can cause fast, sharp spikes in blood sugar. Why is this a concern? The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, estimates that nearly 50% of adults over 65 in the U.S. are pre-diabetic or diabetic. These spikes over time increase the risk of insulin resistance fatigue and long-term complications like vision loss, nerve damage, and kidney disease. So while imitation crab might look like a lean protein, it's metabolically more like a bagel than a fish fillet. Let's talk about salt. The USDA National Nutrient Database shows that a 3-ounce 85g serving of imitation crab contains over 750 mg of sodium. That's about 1/3 of the 2,300 mg daily limit, and more than half of the 500 mg daily limit recommended for older adults or those with hypertension. And most people aren't eating just 3 ounces. Add in a soy dipping sauce or a processed seafood salad, and you're easily going over 1,000 calories in a single meal. The American Heart Association, AHA, confirms that high sodium intake is directly linked to elevated blood pressure, increased risk of stroke, heart failure, and kidney disease, especially in seniors. And sodium retention in older adults often leads to swollen ankles, puffiness, and headaches. Imitation crab often contains monosodium glutamate, MSG, as a flavor enhancer, along with other chemical stabilizers and preservatives, like sodium pyrophosphate. For some people, especially seniors, MSG can trigger a cluster of symptoms, including headaches, facial pressure, dizziness, water retention, nausea. In fact, a study in the Journal of Headache and Pain showed that 25% of participants over 60 reported increased sensitivity to MSG-containing foods, especially when consumed in large portions or in combination with other additives. If you're in your 50s, 60s, or beyond, here's what I recommend. Check the label. If it says imitation or crab-flavored, skip it. Choose real seafood, wild salmon, sardines, tuna in water, no added salt, or fresh shrimp are far healthier and higher in real protein. Avoid surimi if you have diabetes. It's a refined carb, not a true lean protein. Stay hydrated. The sodium in surimi can worsen dehydration and blood pressure issues. Track your symptoms. If you feel lightheaded, swollen, or tired after meals with imitation crab, your body might be sending you signals. The third type of seafood, scallops. Just one serving of scallops can deliver nearly 90% of the World Health Organization's cadmium safety limit for adults, and seniors absorb and retain that toxin even more. Scallops might seem like a safe seafood choice, clean, low-calorie, high-protein, and easy to digest. I used to recommend them too, until I started digging deeper into the numbers. As a senior physician who's worked with aging patients for over 30 years, I can tell you scallops are not the harmless seafood people think they are. Scallops are filter feeders, which means they absorb contaminants from the ocean floor, including cadmium, a toxic heavy metal linked to kidney damage, hypertension, and bone demineralization. According to a report by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration (FDA), cadmium concentrations in scallops can vary widely depending on the region, but levels up to 1.8 ppm parts per million have been detected in raw scallops from certain coastal waters. To put that into perspective, the World Health Organization (WHO) and FAO Food and Agriculture Organization have established a tolerable weekly intake (TWI) of 2.5 micrograms of cadmium per kilogram of body weight. For a 150-pound, 68-kilo adult, that's about 170 micrograms per week. Now let's look at the math. A typical 3.5-ounce 100-gram portion of scallops may contain up to 150 micrograms of cadmium, depending on its origin. If you eat scallops twice a week, you could easily exceed the safe weekly threshold, especially if you're also consuming leafy greens or shellfish, which also accumulate cadmium. Now here's where it gets more serious. Older adults don't clear toxins from their bodies as efficiently as younger people. According to the National Institute on Aging NIA, kidney function naturally declines by about 10% per decade after age 40. That means a 70-year-old may have 40% less filtration power than someone in their 30s, even if they feel healthy. When your kidneys can't flush out cadmium, it accumulates in the renal tissue and stays there for decades. The CDC's Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry, ATSDR, reports that cadmium has a biological half-life of 10 to 30 years in human kidneys. Long-term accumulation has been linked to chronic kidney disease, CKD, high blood pressure, weakened bones and fractures, fatigue and anemia, due to impaired erythropoietin response. One study published in Environmental Health Perspectives found that adults over 60 in the highest quintile of cadmium exposure had a 2.3 times higher risk of reduced kidney function. Scallops may be low in fat, but they're also surprisingly low in omega-3 fatty acids, one of the main reasons people eat seafood in the first place. Here's the breakdown. Scallops 100 green cooked, about 0.1–0.2 g of omega-3s. Salmon 100 gram cooked, over 1.8 g of omega-3s. Sardines 100 gram, up to 2.2 g of omega-3s. So while you're avoiding toxins like mercury or PCBs found in larger fish, you're also missing out on the anti-inflammatory heart protective benefits that come with fattier seafood. In my own practice, I had a patient, Evelyn, 74, from Michigan, who followed a strict pescatarian diet. She loved scallops and ate them at least twice a week, but her kidney function was dropping, and her blood pressure kept climbing despite low sodium intake. Once we adjusted her diet, cutting scallops, adding salmon and leafy greens, her numbers began improving within 3 months. If you're over 60, or even in your 50s, here's how to protect your kidneys, brain and heart while still enjoying seafood. Limit scallops to once a week, and make sure they're from low-contaminant regions like the U.S. Atlantic coast. Choose omega-3 rich fish, like wild-caught salmon, sardines, trout, or even mackerel. Check seafood advisories published by the FDA and EPA for up-to-date safety guidance. If you're on a kidney-safe diet, get your creatinine eGFR and urinary cadmium levels checked annually. Drink plenty of water. Hydration improves kidney filtration and helps flush out toxins. Look for certified low cadmium or sustainable seafood labels when shopping. The most dangerous seafood at number 4, shrimp. Think shrimp is a heart-healthy seafood. Just one small serving can load your body with 180 megabound of cholesterol, and that's before we even talk about the antibiotics and allergy risks hiding in every bite. Shrimp is one of the most popular seafoods in America, especially among older adults who want something light, low-fat, and easy to cook. But as a senior physician, I've had to warn more and more patients. Lately, shrimp may look clean and lean, but for aging bodies, it carries a few serious red flags you need to know. Let's start with cholesterol. According to the USDA, a 3-ounce serving of shrimp that's about 85 grams contains 180 kilograms of cholesterol. that's more than half of the 300 mg daily limit recommended by the American Heart Association, and nearly 90% of the stricter 200 mg limit recommended for those with heart disease, high blood pressure, or diabetes. For seniors, this matters even more. As we age, LDL cholesterol levels tend to rise, and arterial plaque builds faster. I had a patient, Frank, 67, from Texas, who switched to shrimp thinking it was safer than red meat. But after 6 months of eating shrimp 3 to 4 times a week, his LDL shot up by 30 points, and a carotid scan showed early plaque buildup. We cut shrimp down to once a week and added in salmon and fiber-rich foods. His numbers began improving in just 8 weeks. But cholesterol isn't the only issue. Shrimp contains a protein called tropomyosin, which is one of the top triggers for shellfish allergies. While many people develop allergies in childhood, seniors can develop adult-onset shellfish allergies, especially after age 60, when the immune system starts to change. Mild reactions may include itchy mouth or lips, stomach cramps, diarrhea, but in more serious cases, it can lead to anaphylaxis, a life-threatening reaction. The American College of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology reports that shellfish is the leading cause of food allergy deaths in adults, and many first-time reactions happen after age 50. I once treated Martha, 72, from Florida, who had eaten shrimp her whole life. Then, one evening after a shrimp stir-fry at home, she broke out in hives, shortness of breath, and was rushed to the ER. That was the day she discovered her immune system had changed forever. Shrimp shells contain chitin, a tough, fiber-like compound that's very hard to digest, especially for older adults with slower GI function. Even trace amounts left on the shrimp can cause bloating gas or mild inflammation of the gut lining in some people. If you're already dealing with IBS acid reflux or diverticulosis, you might notice shrimp makes things worse, especially fried or breaded versions. According to the FDA's Seafood Monitoring Program, a large percentage of imported shrimp, especially from Southeast Asia, is raised in crowded farms and treated with antibiotics like oxytetracycline and enrofloxacin. These are often banned for use in U.S. aquaculture, but still show up in imported products. Why does this matter? Because trace antibiotic residues can disrupt your gut microbiome, weaken immune defense, and even contribute to antibiotic resistance, a growing crisis in senior care where infections already take longer to treat. So, what should seniors and middle-aged adults do? Here's my best advice. Limit shrimp to once a week and avoid it completely. If you have heart disease, a history of allergies, or digestive issues, choose wild-caught U.S. shrimp. They're held to higher safety standards than many imports. Remove all shell fragments, rinse well, and avoid deep-fried preparations. Get your lipid panel checked regularly, especially if shrimp is a weekly staple in your diet. If you've ever had mild reactions, itching cramps, or rashes, talk to your doctor before eating shrimp again. Adult-onset allergies are real. And now let's dive into the 4 best types of seafood for people over 60. Number 1. Sea cucumber. What if I told you that a slimy sea creature, yes, sea cucumber, can reduce joint pain by over 35%, naturally support your skin, and protect your gut? At the same time, sea cucumber doesn't get much attention in the West. It's not pretty, it's not trendy. But for those of us in the medical world, especially working with aging patients, it's a nutritional powerhouse that deserves a seat at the table. Sea cucumbers are naturally rich in chondroitin sulfate, a molecule commonly used in joint supplements. But unlike over-the-counter capsules, the chondroitin in sea cucumber is bound to proteins and collagen fibers that boost absorption in the gut. A randomized double-blind study published in the Journal of Medicinal Food 2011 found that participants who consumed 1,000 milliliters of sea cucumber extract daily for 12 weeks saw 35% reduction in joint pain, 28% improvement in knee function, significant decrease in stiffness. And here's what makes it even more interesting. Unlike ibuprofen or other NSAIDs, sea cucumber did not cause stomach discomfort in any of the participants. That's a big deal for seniors. According to the CDC, up to 60% of adults over 65 experience some form of chronic joint pain, most commonly in the knees, hips, and spine. And long-term use of NSAIDs like ibuprofen or naproxen can increase risk of gastrointestinal bleeding, kidney strain, elevated blood pressure. Sea cucumber offers an anti-inflammatory effect without those risks. Sea cucumbers contain a range of triterpene glycosides compounds that help calm inflammation at the cellular level. One review published in Marine Drugs 2020 highlighted their ability to reduce TNF-A and IL-6, two major markers of inflammation linked to arthritis, heart disease, and even neurodegenerative decline. This matters because chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the biggest drivers of aging-related diseases, including Alzheimer's, heart failure, and osteoporosis. In my clinic, I often recommend sea cucumber to patients who are inflammaging. They're not sick, but they're always tired, puffy, or stiff. And within 6 to 8 weeks, they often report better sleep, looser joints, and less morning fatigue. Collagen decline starts around age 30, but it accelerates after 60. That's when we see thinner skin, slower wound healing, sagging or wrinkles, easy bruising. Sea cucumber is a rare food that provides bioactive marine collagen that actually stimulates your body to produce more of its own. A study out of China's Ocean University 2018 found that sea cucumber peptides improved skin hydration by 41% and reduced skin roughness by 35% over an 8-week period. And it's not just about looks. Good collagen supports blood vessels, joints, gums, and gut lining, all areas that tend to weaken with age. This one's important. NSAIDs like ibuprofen and naproxen are one of the leading causes of hospitalization in seniors due to GI bleeding. According to the American Gastroenterological Association, over 100,000 seniors are hospitalized each year due to NSAID-related complications. Sea cucumber's anti-inflammatory action doesn't irritate the stomach lining. That makes it ideal for those with GERD, gastritis, ulcers, NSAID sensitivity, smart use, and daily application for seniors. Here's what I recommend. Look for freeze-dried sea cucumber capsules from reputable US or Canadian brands. Start with 501,000 mg daily and increase slowly as tolerated. Take it with food alongside healthy fats for better absorption. Pair with light exercise, vitamin C, and hydration for collagen building. Monitor changes in joint flexibility, energy, skin texture, and digestion. Number 2. New Zealand green-lipped mussels. In one clinical study, older adults who took green-lipped mussel extract reduced their joint pain by 42% and moved 35% more freely in just 12 weeks. Green-lipped mussels from New Zealand are a hidden gem when it comes to senior health. I know it sounds exotic, but the benefits are real and backed by solid science. Let's start with the joints. Green-lipped mussels are one of the only known food sources of ETA, eicosapentaenoic acid, a rare omega-3 that fights inflammation differently than EPA or DHA. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Interventions in Aging found that seniors who took green-lipped mussel supplements daily experienced 42% reduction in joint pain, 35% improvement in mobility and flexibility. And that wasn't just subjective. They could walk longer, climb stairs more easily, and needed fewer NSAIDs by week 12. I had a patient, Roger, 69, from Minnesota, who struggled with knee stiffness every morning. He started on a green-lipped mussel supplement, with 600 milliliters of ETA-rich extract. After 2 months, he said, "Doc, I haven't had to ice my knees in weeks." Now let's talk nutrients. These muscles are packed with zinc, iodine, iron, and selenium key trace minerals that older adults often fall short on. Here's how they help. Zinc and selenium support your immune system and protect against age-related decline. Iron helps fight fatigue and supports oxygen delivery to your brain and muscles. Iodine keeps your thyroid in check, which controls your metabolism and energy levels. The National Institutes of Health (NIH) reports that over 30% of adults over 60 are low in selenium, and nearly 20% are borderline anemic even if they eat well. Muscles naturally replenish these gaps without the need for multivitamins. Another benefit: muscles are gentle on digestion and lower in mercury compared to larger fish like tuna or swordfish. That makes them ideal for seniors who want the benefits of seafood without the toxin risk. Here's what I recommend for folks in their 50s, 60s, or beyond. Choose freeze-dried or oil extract supplements from green-lipped mussels. Look for products from New Zealand. Standard dose is around 500 1 day, with or after meals. Pair with gentle movement like water aerobics or walking for faster joint relief. Stay consistent. Most people see full results after 8 to 12 weeks. Number 3. Irish sea moss. Irish sea moss, also called sea moss, might not look like much, but it's one of the most nutrient-dense superfoods on the planet, especially for people over 60. Let's start with minerals. Sea moss contains over 90 trace minerals that the body needs: magnesium, potassium, sulfur, iron, calcium, iodine, zinc. The list goes on. These are the building blocks for strong bones, stable mood, proper thyroid function, and energy production. The USDA has confirmed that many seniors in the US are low in magnesium, potassium, and iron, which can lead to fatigue, muscle cramps, brain fog, weakened immune function. I had a patient, Mildred, 72, from New Jersey, who came in always tired and struggling with brittle nails and dry skin. After adding a tablespoon of Irish moss gel to her smoothie every morning, plus more water and fiber, she said she had more energy without needing that second coffee. Irish moss is naturally rich in vitamin C, proline, and sulfur, key precursors the body uses to build collagen. In an 8-week clinical study published in the Journal of Medicinal Plants Research, adults taking Irish moss saw a 37% increase in mobility, 29% reduction in skin dryness, improved gut comfort and digestion. For older adults, this is huge. Collagen doesn't just help your skin, it supports joints, blood vessels, and even the lining of your gut. Another hidden benefit: the mucilage in sea moss. This gel-like fiber coats the digestive tract, calming inflammation, easing constipation, and even helping friendly gut bacteria thrive. It's great for folks with IBS, acid reflux, or sluggish digestion. Here's my advice. Start with 1 to 2 teaspoons daily in gel or powder form. You can mix it into tea smoothies or soups. Choose wild-crafted or organically sourced sea moss. Avoid bleached or heavily processed products. Stay hydrated. Sea moss absorbs water and works better when you're drinking enough fluids. Be consistent. Most of the benefits show up between week 4 and 8. Number 4. Oysters. Oysters aren't just fancy seafood, they're one of the most underrated nutrient powerhouses for older adults. I always tell my patients, if you're over 60 and you're not eating oysters, you might be missing out on one of nature's best mineral sources. Let's talk zinc first. According to the National Institutes of Health, NIH, just 2 medium oysters provide over 74 milliliters of zinc, well above the daily recommended value for adults. And zinc plays a huge role in the immune system, helping your body fight infections, heal wounds, and even support healthy vision. I had a patient, Dan, 68, from South Carolina, who was struggling with slow wound healing after knee surgery. Lab tests showed mild zinc deficiency. We added oysters to his meals twice a week, and within a month he noticed faster recovery and fewer colds. Now let's move on to vitamin B12. Oysters are loaded with B12. Just 3 ounces give you over 300% of your daily need. That matters because B12 helps protect nerve cells, support brain function, and prevent cognitive decline. The CDC reports that up to 20% of adults over 60 are low in B12, which may contribute to memory issues, fatigue, or even mood changes. Then there's copper. Another trace mineral oysters are rich in. Copper is crucial for collagen production, which helps skin bones and joints stay strong. Iron absorption, preventing fatigue. Bone strength, helping reduce the risk of fractures in older age. 1 serving of oysters gives you over 200% of your daily copper needs, according to USDA nutrition data. All of that in a couple of bites. Here's my advice for older adults. Eat oysters once or twice a week, steamed or raw, but make sure they're fresh and from clean waters. Pair with lemon or vitamin C-rich foods to improve mineral absorption. If you don't like raw oysters, try them lightly grilled or added to soup. If fresh oysters aren't available. Zinc-rich alternatives include pumpkin seeds, beef liver, and chickpeas, but oysters are king for mineral density. So now you know the 4 seafoods that might look harmless on your plate, but could be slowly hurting your heart, your joints, your kidneys, or your immune system. For those of us over 60, every bite counts. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. And it's about making smarter, safer choices that support your health, not sabotage it. So the next time you're at the store or staring at a seafood menu, pause, think, and choose wisely. And hey, if this helped you learn something new, please don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button, share this with a friend or loved one, and subscribe to Senior Life for more real science-backed guidance on aging with strength, clarity, and confidence. After age 60, you could be losing up to 3% of your muscle strength every single year, not because of aging, but because you're missing key vitamins before bed. Even more shocking, a study published in the Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that over 93% of older adults are deficient in at least 1 critical vitamin that helps protect muscle tissue overnight. This isn't just about getting weaker, it's about losing your independence, your ability to walk without help, maybe even your ability to get out of bed on your own within the next 5 years. And the worst part, most seniors have no idea it's happening silently night after night. But today, we're breaking the silence. Before we dive into the details, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Senior Life, where your health is always our priority. Let me tell you about my old friend Bill. Bill's 72, Vietnam veteran. Tough as nails, spent most of his life fixing trucks in a small Ohio town. Never asked for much, just his morning paper, his black coffee, and his evening walks with his dog Max. But something changed last year. Bill started tripping. Not just once or twice, but regularly. His grip strength weakened. He told me, "Doc, I feel like my legs forget what to do." He'd lose his balance when getting out of bed. It scared him and it scared me. We ran some tests. Nothing showed up on the MRI, nothing wrong with his spine or brain. But his blood work revealed something striking. His vitamin E levels were dangerously low. Now, here's the thing. Most people associate vitamin E with skin creams or eye health. But what they don't realize is how crucial it is for the nervous system and muscle control. A study from the National Institutes of Health (NIH) found that vitamin E deficiency, especially in older adults, can cause neuromuscular problems, impaired coordination, and even peripheral neuropathy, the exact symptoms Bill was showing. Now follow along with us as we explore the 4 essential vitamins that seniors should take before going to bed. The first essential vitamin, vitamin B12. A silent deficiency that affects over 1 in 5 people over 60 and can lead to muscle weakness, falls, memory loss, even irreversible nerve damage. It's not Alzheimer's, it's vitamin B12 deficiency, and it's far more common than most seniors realize. A few months ago, I had a patient named Paul, 74, from upstate New York. Former construction worker built his own cabin sharp as a tack until he wasn't. His daughter brought him in after he fell in the garage. Twice. He'd also started forgetting simple things like where he put his tools or whether he had eaten. Everyone thought it was just normal aging. But to me, something didn't sit right. Blood tests showed his serum. B12 was 180 pg/ml, just above the clinical deficiency cutoff, but far too low for good nerve health. His homocysteine and MMA methylmalonic acid levels were elevated, which meant his tissues weren't getting the B12 they needed. Vitamin B12, especially in its methylcobalamin form, plays a critical role in myelin formation. That's the protective sheath around your nerves. Without enough B12, the insulation starts to wear down. Neurotransmitter production. It helps nerves talk to muscles. Red blood cell creation low. B12 leads to fatigue and shortness of breath. Muscle coordination and balance, especially in the legs, ankles, and feet. Why seniors are at high risk, according to the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, NHANES conducted by the CDC, about 20% of adults over 60 in the U.S. have a B12 deficiency, and up to 43% are borderline low. That's nearly half of all seniors walking around with suboptimal nerve function, and they don't even know it. Why? Because as we age, our stomach lining produces less hydrochloric acid. That acid is necessary to extract B12 from protein-rich foods like meat, fish, and eggs. To make matters worse, common medications like metformin for diabetes or PPIs for acid reflux can further block absorption. A 2015 study in the Journal of the American Geriatrics Society followed 100 older adults with B12 deficiency. After 8 weeks of daily methylcobalamin supplementation, over 60% reported improvement in balance, memory, and leg strength. Another 2021 meta-analysis published in Nutrients found that B12 supplementation significantly reduced symptoms of neuropathy, unsteady gait, and cognitive slowing in adults over 65, especially when taken at night, when cellular repair is most active. Why bedtime is the best time. Taking 1,000 mcg of methylcobalamin under the tongue sublingually about an hour before bed gives your body a calm window to absorb and utilize the nutrient. Why sublingual? Because it bypasses the stomach completely straight into the bloodstream, which is critical for seniors with absorption issues. I often tell my patients this: you don't need fancy injections or expensive tests. For most seniors, just one small lozenge under the tongue each night can restore what age is silently stealing. And that's exactly what we did for Paul. After 12 weeks, his daughter told me he was back in the garage, not falling, but building a birdhouse. The second essential vitamin, vitamin C. Vitamin C isn't just an immune booster, it's a muscle preserver. Here's why it's the cofactor needed to produce collagen, the structural protein in muscles, joints, bones, and skin. It acts as a potent antioxidant, protecting muscles from inflammation and oxidative damage, especially after physical activity or during sleep. It improves iron absorption, which supports oxygen transport to working muscles. A major study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition 2019 analyzed data from over 13,000 adults aged 42 to 82. The results: those with higher vitamin C intake had significantly more skeletal muscle mass than those with lower intake even after adjusting for physical activity and diet. In fact, they found that each 10 mg increase in daily vitamin C intake was associated with better muscle retention, particularly in the legs and hips, key areas for balance and independence. Another 2020 meta-analysis from the University of East Anglia, UK, found that higher vitamin C status was associated with a 67% lower risk of sarcopenia, the progressive loss of muscle mass in aging adults. I'll never forget my patient Gloria, age 73, a retired dance teacher from New Mexico. She came into my office saying, "Doctor, I feel like my legs are made of jelly. I can't hold myself up like I used to. Even getting out of the bathtub feels like a chore." At first we thought it was normal aging, but her blood work told a different story. Her plasma vitamin C was just 22 mg/ml et al., far below the optimal range. According to guidelines from the U.S. National Institutes of Health, NIH vitamin C levels below 28 mg/ml may indicate a state of depletion. And when that happens, your body can't produce enough collagen, the stuff that holds your muscles, tendons, and ligaments together. The bedtime advantage. Most people take vitamin C in the morning, but they're missing its biggest benefit. Nighttime is when your body repairs. That's when collagen is rebuilt, inflammation is reduced, and muscle fibers recover. Taking 1,000 mg of liposomal or buffered vitamin C about 1 hour before bed on an empty stomach ensures better absorption and puts that vitamin to work when your body needs it most. Liposomal forms are encapsulated in fat, allowing them to pass through your gut lining more efficiently. Buffered versions reduce the risk of stomach upset, which is common in older adults. How to know you might be deficient. You don't have to have scurvy to be low in vitamin C. Here are early warning signs: muscles that feel weak, sore, or fatigued, easy bruising or slow healing wounds, gums that bleed when brushing, achy joints especially in the knees and hips, feeling saggy or lacking tone in the arms or legs, low energy despite good sleep and food. According to the CDC, up to 38% of older adults in the U.S. may be not getting enough vitamin C, either due to poor diet, poor absorption, or medication interactions like aspirin or diuretics. The third essential vitamin, vitamin E. Vitamin E is a fat-soluble antioxidant, which means it protects your cells, especially muscle and nerve cells, from oxidative stress. As we age, free radicals, unstable molecules increase in the body due to inflammation, stress, poor diet, and even medications. At night, while the body tries to repair muscles, those free radicals can do more damage unless vitamin E is there to neutralize them. Think of it like this. Without vitamin E, your muscles try to heal while still under attack. But with the right amount, especially at night, you give your body a fighting chance to recover stronger. A 2008 study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition tracked older adults who took 400 IU of natural vitamin E D-alpha tocopherol daily. After 12 weeks, participants had improved grip strength and lower body muscle performance, reduced markers of muscle damage and inflammation, fewer complaints of morning stiffness and muscle soreness. Another 2016 trial in oxidative medicine and cellular longevity confirmed that vitamin E helped slow down muscle degeneration in adults over 65, especially those who were inactive or recovering from illness. And here's something even more compelling. A Framingham Heart Study follow-up found that low plasma vitamin E was associated with increased risk of physical decline, balance problems, and difficulty performing daily tasks like getting dressed or climbing stairs. Why natural E works. Best not all vitamin E is created equal. Most cheap supplements use synthetic forms listed as DL-alpha tocopherol. Your body only absorbs about half of that compared to natural D-alpha tocopherol. I always recommend the natural version, ideally from a mixed tocopherol formula, which includes other types like gamma and delta tocopherol that offer broader antioxidant coverage. How and when to take it for muscle protection and overnight repair? I suggest 400 IU of natural vitamin E. Take it 1 hour after dinner, not on an empty stomach since its fat-soluble food helps absorption. Avoid taking it with high-dose iron, which can interfere with absorption. Nighttime is ideal because your body is in rest and repair mode. That's when inflammation gets processed, muscles rebuild, and your antioxidant systems kick in. Most people don't realize they're lacking vitamin E until symptoms show up such as morning stiffness or muscle tightness, weakness when climbing stairs or getting out of chairs, cramping in the calves or hamstrings, easy bruising or dry aging skin, mood swings or mild coordination issues. According to the CDC and NHANES survey data, over 35% of seniors in the U.S. fall below recommended vitamin E intake, especially those with poor diets or fat absorption issues, like with gallbladder removal or chronic gut problems. The fourth essential vitamin, we're especially focusing on magnesium. A recent study from the Journal of Sleep Research found that 80% of older adults who took magnesium before bed slept better, had fewer cramps, and showed improved leg strength in the morning. Yet nearly half of U.S. seniors still aren't getting enough. Let's talk about Tom, one of my patients from Illinois. He's 69, a retired mechanic, and still fixes bikes for his grandkids on the weekends. But over the past year, he came to me frustrated. "I sleep 7 hours, doc, but it's like I didn't sleep at all. My legs cramp, I toss and turn, and I feel like I'm aging 10 years overnight." Tom's magnesium level just 1.7 mctin DDL, barely scraping the bottom of the normal range. And sadly, he's not alone. According to data from the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, NHANES, up to 48% of older adults in the U.S. consume less magnesium than recommended. Low intake is linked to increased muscle cramps, poor sleep fatigue, and higher risk of frailty. In fact, research published in Nutrients 2020 showed that magnesium deficiency was strongly associated with sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass and function. Why magnesium matters more after 60. Here's what magnesium does for your muscles and sleep. Relaxes skeletal muscle by blocking calcium overload in cells. Helps regulate nerve impulses, reducing involuntary spasms or cramps. Aids in the production of ATP, your body's energy currency, especially during overnight repair. Supports GABA and melatonin, which are key for deep, restful sleep. Reduces inflammatory markers linked to chronic pain and stiffness. All of these are critical for seniors trying to maintain leg strength balance and sleep quality. A 2012 double-blind study in the Journal of Research in Medical Sciences tested magnesium supplements in older adults with insomnia. After 8 weeks, participants had fewer nighttime awakenings, improved sleep onset time, higher morning energy levels, and significant reductions in leg cramps and muscle tension. Another 2023 study in the Journal of Muscle Function and Health showed that older adults taking 250 mg of magnesium glycinate nightly improved their lower limb function by 34% after just 4 weeks. Even better, participants reported less joint stiffness and better postural stability, key for preventing falls. There are many forms of magnesium oxide, citrate, chloride, etc., but magnesium glycinate stands out for seniors. Why? It's highly bioavailable, meaning your body absorbs and uses it well. It's gentle on the stomach, unlike magnesium oxide, which often causes diarrhea. Glycine, the amino acid it's bound to, has calming effects on the brain and nervous system, enhancing sleep. That's why I always recommend glycinate, especially before bed. How and when to take it. Here's what I typically suggest. Dose 250 to 350 milligrams of magnesium glycinate. Timing 30-60 minutes before bed. How? On an empty stomach with warm water, No food or caffeine. Avoid pairing with high calcium meals, which can interfere with absorption. The goal is to create a relaxed, repair-ready state as your body enters deep sleep. If you're over 60 and you're not giving your body vitamin B12, vitamin C, vitamin E, and magnesium at the right time, especially before bed, you could be losing strength, coordination, and mobility every single night without even realizing it. But the good news: you can start changing that tonight. These 4 simple nutrients taken in the right form at the right time can help you wake up stronger, move with more confidence, and protect the independence you've worked your whole life to keep. So don't wait. Start tonight. Your future self will thank you. And hey, if you found this helpful, make sure to like this video, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to Senior Life for more life-changing advice every week.